Hello. In this video, we'll essentially be starting the replication part of the Redis server, and this is going to support distributed caching. And we have implemented the support for the info command in the previous stage, but info command has another flag, the replica of flag, uh, and we'll be handling this flag in this stage. So whenever we pass the replica of flag, we also pass the host of the master node and the port where the master node is listening on. And whenever we start an instance of Redis with this flag, our instance is made into a slave node of the master node, and it will start reading the data from master, and we try to be in sync with it. So the any data that it serves will be the latest, fresh from the master. So that's essentially what we're trying to do. In this stage, let's just read. By default, the Redis server assumes the master role. When the replica of flag is passed, the server assumes the slave role instead. Here's an example of the replica of flag. In this example, we're starting a Redis server in replica mode. The server itself will listen for connection on port 6380, but it will also connect to master running on localhost port 6379 and replicate all changes from the master. We'll learn more about this replication in later stages. For now, we'll focus on adding support for the replica of flag and extending the info command to support returning role slave. So right now, in the previous stage, we were hard coding and returning the role master. But if our instance is started with the replica of flag, we need to update our Redis config to show that the current instance that's running is actually a slave. When the server is a replica, yeah. So how they'll test our program is they'll run my program and they'll pass two flags. One, the port for my current instance, and the replica of flag, which is followed by the IP address or the host name for the master and the port for the master. It will then send an info command with replication as an argument to your server. Okay, so they'll send an info command to us with a replication flag, and we have already added support for this. We just need to add other things that it requires now. So I think it just requires us to make master into slave for this stage. And okay, so where each line is the tester will only look for role key and assert that the value is a slave. Your program still needs to pass the previous stage tests. Okay, just like the last stages. Okay, so first off, in the previous stage, I created this class, right? And I was checking for role master. The only reason I created this test was because I wanted to know what format it's being expected in. Like, do I need to add another new line after this? But no, this is how it's expected, and it was working. But now it's not going to work because if my instance is started as a slave, it will return a slave instead. So this test will fail. And right now I do not need to test that, so I'll just comment it out. Okay, and let's just get into the main class because that's where we are reading the arguments, right? So right now I have a for loop. I have a for loop on the args, and I'm running an if statement. So instead of if, I want to make it into a switch case because sooner or later we're going to support many different arguments. Switch case is the preferred way to do that. Switch on args of I, and in here I just want to reset the port value, and let's just move it up. So by default we're starting on 6379 and setting the role to master, but if we have a port that's passed to us, then we'll reset the port. And I just need to add another case here for the replica of flag, so I can remove this if statement. Replica of, And in case of replica off, the replica off command will be followed by the master host and the master port. So let's create a few variables. But I also want to store those master host and master port. They're not required of us right now to pass this test. But anyways, yeah, first of all, as soon as we see replica off, the role will be a slave. So I'll just reset it. All right. We don't need this here. And the flag will be followed by master host and master port in a single string. So if replica of is at index I plus 1 will be this, right? And I can essentially split on empty space and get the first element. That will be the master host. And then int port. The next thing is the port, but I need to cast it to integer, parse it into integer, parse int. But I also need to save these things. And where am I going to save these things? Wherever I'm saving the role and the port. So that was part of the server, Redis config. Here I need to add a few more variables, like so. And I need master host and master port, right? So let's first convert these to private. Private string master host and private int master port. And then I need getters and setters for it. So getters and setters, let's generate them in the main class. After parsing it from the args, I can set it into the Redis config. Do I already have? Yeah, I have Redis config dot set master host will be equal to master host. All right. And with that, I think we should be good. I think we should be good. Well, let's see. What's the name of the stage? It's HC6. Push. The application built successfully. Now they're running tests. They're running our tests right first. So to skip that, what you can do is to this maven package command, we can pass an argument called, I think it's skip tests equal to true, but I'm not sure. I'll have to Google that or chat GPT that. You can try it. Should look something like so. Anyways, let's see the logs. Okay, so the test passed and we're good to go. All right, let's see. That it was pretty easy. Let's see the next stage here. All right, was there anything else to read? Nope. Let's go to the next one. Okay. In this stage, we'll extend the info command and return two additional values, the master REPL ID and the master REPL offset. So what are the replication ID and the offsets? Every Redis master has a replication ID. It is a large pseudo-random string. This is set when the master is booted up. Every time a master instance starts from scratch, its replication ID is reset. Each master also maintains a replication offset, corresponding to how many bytes of commands have been added to the replication stream. We'll learn about this offset in later stages. For now, just know the value starts from 0 when the master is booted and no replicas have connected yet. So what does the replication offset mean? It means that if my master has received one write command and the write command was 10 bytes long, then the replication offset for the master will be 10. And if the replication offset for the slave is 0, then we know that we need to read 10 bytes from the master. And how we can do that is, however, the command, whatever command was sent to the master, we can just send it down to the slave. And the same command, it will be the same command, so it will be 10 bytes long. And as soon as the slave processes the command, we can update the replication offset for the slave to be 10. Now, since the replication offset for both the master and the slave is equal to 10, we know both are in sync in terms of data. And so we can be confident that the data we are reading from the slave instance will reflect the value that is set in the master instance. So that's essentially what the meaning of offset here is. And I hope I was able to explain that. If not, it'll be explained in the later stages. I think somewhere here we'll implement better support for it. Anyways, let's read forward. In this stage, you will initialize a replication ID and offset for your master. The ID can be any pseudo-random alphanumeric string of 40 characters. Okay, so we need to generate a pseudo-random alphanumeric string of 40 characters. What I've done is I've already asked ChatGPT to do that in Java. It's essentially a UUID. We are replacing the hyphens with empty spaces, and that's generating a 40 character long string for me, and that works. For the purposes of this challenge, you don't need to actually generate a random string. You can hard code it, but I have already generated it. As an example, you can hard code as the replication ID. The offset will obviously be 0 because no write command has been sent to the master instance as of yet. These two values should be returned as part of the info command output under the master REPL ID and master REPL offset. So as soon as I see it, I realize that I need to store it in my Redis config because we need these values later on. So I need to store them in my Redis config. So let's go ahead and create two variables in my Redis config and create getters and setters for it. So here I am in my Redis config, and here private string master REPL ID. Initially I'll set it to be null, and private long master REPL offset will be equal to null, and let's generate getters and setters for it. Generate getters, setters, okay. And in my getter, if the value is null, if ma master REPL ID is equal to null, what I can do is I can generate a random string of 40 characters long, and the code for that looks kinda like so. Let me copy and paste it. I've already prepared it. It looks like so. I can import it. So this will generate a UUID that's 40 characters long, and then we replace 8 characters with empty strings, so we need another random 8 characters, and if the master REPL, this is the setter, I don't need to change here anything. Master REPL offset, if it's null, I can set it to 0. By the error. Oh, it's long. All right. And our Redis config is updated. I don't think we need anything else here. Okay. And in my main class, do I need to change anything in my main class? No, I don't think so. Replica off, it won't have. I just need to change my command handler now. In my command handler, here is the info command. And if we have a replication, we are returning a role. So instead of role, only role, I need role, and that will be equal to Redis config dot get role master REPL ID will be equal to get master REPL ID, master REPL offset will be equal to offset, and instead of role here it needs to be master REPL ID. And here it's going to be master REPL offset. All right, what else do we need to return? I don't think so anything else. What we can do is I need to serialize this data, right? What we can do is we can join everything with the /r/n and then just serialize it with the serialize bulk string method. But I need to join these 3 strings together. String info is equals to new string. Here there will be role comma master REPL ID comma master REPL offset. And what I can do is string replication data is equals to string dot join, and I'll join everything with a /r/n, and I'll pass the info data. And instead of this, I can serialize this. Yeah, I think we're good now, because that's what's required of us, right? They need a role, a master REPL ID, and a master REPL offset, and they will be separated by new lines, right? I think I read that somewhere. Bulk, your program should respond with a bulk string where each line is a key value pair separated by that. So that means key value, key value, key value separated by a colon, a colon, a colon. That where each line, so these are new lines. So they should be separated, they should be joined with a new line. Should be 40 characters long, should be 0. These can be hard coded, but we're not hard coding them. I think we're good. Let's try. Git add, git commit. What's the name of the stage? It's XC1. push, and let's see if it works. Let me see the flag that's required to skip the tests as well. I have it somewhere. New window. Where is it? Yeah, I got it. Okay, so the tests passed. All right, we can go to the next one. Okay, let me show you the flag that's required to skip the test as well. So if in here, it's a package command, right? So the tests can be skipped with this flag, and if we add it here, I think that should work. Maven clean package, Maven package. I think that will work. Let's see. Skip tests, git push. They should not be running my tests now. Let's see. But they are. Why? Okay, I'll do some research and I'll see how I can make them skip my tests. And I'll let you know in the next video. Okay. Yeah, it failed. Why did it fail? Okay, so that it failed because they're already testing for this and we haven't implemented any support for it yet. So we'll do that in the next video. So definitely stay around and I'll see you in the next one.